So with me next is Vipresh Gangwal from MathWorks. I'm really excited to have him here with us. As you recall, at the beginning of the event, Vivek kicked us off by sharing HackerRank's mission, which is accelerate the world's innovation. The thing that I really appreciate about MathWorks and Vipresh in particular is their commitment to the same mission. They phrase it slightly differently, but their passion is the same, accelerating the pace of engineering and science with all of their great products that they bring to market. So Vipresh, welcome, and please share a little bit about yourself and your role as the manager of the engineering development group at MathWorks.
Awesome. Hey, Jen. Yep. Thanks. Thanks for that introduction. So, hey, everybody. My name is Vipresh, and I am one of the managers in the EDG program, or the Engineering Development Group. MathWorks as a company, we have the mission of accelerating the pace of engineering and science, where we're building high-tech software to help engineers and scientists in multiple domains through our products like MATLAB and Simulink, which are commonly known names now for anybody in the tech world. The engineering development group within MathWorks, it is the launch pad for technical careers at MathWorks. It's the leadership development program where most technical careers start. For people just graduating out of university, it offers them an opportunity to figure out where they fit in MathWorks. Instead of assigning them a team or a role, we allow engineers to figure it out. And one such success story is actually me myself. So I have a background in electrical engineering. My graduate studies were focused on perception and planning in robotics. So I joined MathWorks because of my exposure to MATLAB, and I thought I was going to be a software developer, and that's all I wanted to do. But within the few weeks of joining the EDG group, I was exposed to so many other roles and opportunities that I very early realized that I did not want to be a software developer. So, I've been at MathWorks for more than 8 years now and have been a manager in the EDG program for more than half a decade.
Technical skills are really the underpinning of finding that great talent. And as you mentioned, when you're recruiting someone who's straight out of university, they're going to have one set of skills across a broad range of disciplines versus someone who might have some domain expertise when they've been out in the professional world for a while. So talk to me a little bit about what your views are of the skills rubric and how you make sure that you're assessing the right skills for the different jobs that you're recruiting for.
Yep. So I think one of the things you will realize in our conversation today is the alignment that you were talking about. We started the conversation with the talk about alignment in our missions as a company. There's a lot more alignment in a lot of things, which makes me one of the fans of this tool and the direction in which we are going. So why do I say that? It's because way before the skills matrix or the whole rubric and the whole platform was introduced, the way in the last few years we've been hiring is figuring out, well, what does it take for somebody to be successful? And we have spent time defining that rubric internally, because if you anchor your interviews based on that fundamental, strong professional and technical skills that you're looking for, then you can remove variability between interviewers. You can remove bias. You can account for a lot of other things and find really the strongest candidates out there. So the skills is it's really exciting to see that not only the skills that HackerRank has chosen to focus on, but also the way they have defined those is a lot in alignment with a lot of work that we led a couple of years ago. And so since this is all in so much alignment, I'm actually looking forward to seeing how we can incorporate some of these new features in our workflows. And we'll continue that investigation and conversation. But just that alignment sounds really exciting.
When we were talking a little bit before we started this session today, you were telling me about how you had started with the screening aspect of HackerRank and then started using interviews even in on-site before everybody went remote, and that you are very much a trailblazer in that regard. Can you talk to me a little bit about what your process looked like even before COVID-19?
Yep. Yep. So I'll describe the process, and I think there are some parallels in the terminology or the words we use. But at a very high level, the interview process for the EDG program involves an offline code challenge that allows the candidate to, solve a programming problem, submit their code, and then a couple of phone interviews, which includes phone technical interviews, where we do a follow up on what was submitted. That gives us additional data points. So at each stage, we're looking at a wide variety of data points because, like I said, we have this rubric in mind and we're trying to look for that strong talent. We're not pinning our decisions based on just one data point, right? So not one particular number, not one particular factor. It's a combination of things. So it starts with an offline code challenge. It then moves to a phone technical interview, and then for the for the opportunities for full-time jobs, it is often followed by a visit to our campus. And even the on-campus interviews or conversations include some kind of programming, which is where we've been using the code pair tool um, to serve as a quick way for us to continue using the same tool to provide us an ID which can work with all languages. And we have the interviewer and the interviewee on two separate machines in the same room so that we don't have the interviewer, peeking over the interviewee's shoulder and making them feel uncomfortable. So what you call screen is what is our offline code challenge, but we don't necessarily use it for screening as much as we use it as one more data point in the application packet. And then what you call interview or the code pair tool is what we use both for our phone screens or phone technical interviews and then on-site technical interviews or interviews. But yeah, so in summary, it's the offline code challenge, phone conversation, and an in-person conversation. And we have been using HackerRank provided tools for all of these stages whenever possible.
Now that the world has gone to remote and you can't do that on-site anymore, talk to me a little bit about how that has disrupted your hiring process and what you've done to change.
Yep. So, MathWorks, we believe in working very closely with each other, which also translates to the fact that we are in each other's offices all the time and we are on campus. Why am I saying all this is because to set the stage of the fact that working remotely is not something we do often at MathWorks. So when this happened and when we had to make this transition, it was sudden, it was overnight, it wasn't something that we were used to all the time. But then it was easy, especially because what we did was we took the on-site interview. So the phone screens or the phone interviews were phone interviews. They continued to be what they were. We took the on-site interview and we just sort of replicated that same assessment, the same level of engagement, the same level of everything else, using similar tools and just moved it to a virtual setting. So there were minor hiccups initially, but we were able to figure it out. And since then, we've been doing it. Again, since our interview process relied on, for example, using code pair when we were on campus, the difference now is, well, you're not sitting in the same room, so you still have to rely a little bit more on virtual connections. But when it comes to technical assessment, it's still similar.
So Vipresh, as you look forward to the next 12 months, what are some of the big projects and challenges that lay ahead for you?
Yep. So specifically in the space of hiring, if I'm looking at some of the challenges, like I said, engaging with the candidates is one of the main focus areas now. And how do we adapt to the remote? How do we continue in this remote work environment? Don't know how long it's going to go. Another challenge is an ongoing challenge that we always have is ramping up new interviewers. We have many interviewers, technical interviewers in our team, and so making sure that we provide them with the right tools, the right training, the right resources for us to really go out there and find some of the strongest future math workers. That is another challenge. And then I think I've heard a lot about some of the new features today. Looking at the demos, looking at some of these features, I want to see how we can incorporate some of these, the code review questions, the skills directory, the integration of all of these with the interview processes that we have. And how do we customize it to our workflows, especially given the broad skill set that we are interviewing for, as opposed to just front end developer versus just back end developer.
Very good advice. Well, Vipresh, thank you again for joining us here today. Great words of wisdom, and really appreciate you sharing your story with all of us. Thank you.
No problem. It was really fun talking to you, and it's really exciting to see all the new features, everything that the direction in which HackerRank is moving. It just makes it easier and easier for me to, for us as a company to start using it more and more in the way we do it. And yeah, so thank you so much for all the amazing features, and looking forward to all the new ones.
We'll keep innovating and accelerating the world's innovation with you.